Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Collegiate iRacing Series Oval Side as we take on Auto Club Speedway. My name's Matthew Nordberg here in the booth with me tonight. We have Jeremy Millerin and Zach Lindler. Zach, take us away for a little bit about tonight's track.
Yes, welcome everybody, one and all, to Fontana, California, to the great big Auto Club Speedway. A favorite track of a lot of drivers in this series, and one of the more exciting ones that we've had in the past. Auto Club, obviously the 2-mile racetrack, very wide, very big, a lot of room to race. So we're going to see drivers moving around and making some little more aggressive moves than tonight's Prospect Series race. So like Matthew said, I myself, along with Jeremy Millerin from Purdue University in the booth. Jeremy, tell us a little bit about this racetrack.
Yeah, well, right now we're seeing partly cloudy weather, 91 degrees out, pretty hot, track temp of 128. It'll be interesting to see if those clouds start moving, how the track changes throughout. I'm expecting to see start to get a little bit slick here, but yeah, it'll be great to see. And from this racetrack, we know that's mostly a high groove racetrack, or at least from last season, what we know is that this is a pretty high groove dominant racetrack, although we see a lot of people in practice starting to work the bottom grooves. So it'll be really interesting to see how that works out here tonight, passing.
So, Jeremy, you are a driver in the Premier Series, which will race here tomorrow night. Tell us a little bit about this car and this track. Are there changes that you've had to make from last season? Is there anything new? Is there anything that still works? Give us a little driver's insight into what to expect tonight.
Well, early in the season, I did NIS races here, and I done few races here. And one of the things to notice, or that's very notable, first off the bat, is there's a lot more stable car around here. You're not going to be worried so much about your back end cracking out from underneath you, but it's going to be interesting because with this new car, you seem to have to manipulate the throttle a lot more to get the rotation that you need off the corner. You can't necessarily just pull out and then jam right back into it and drive right off the corner. So I think it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge, a little bit more of a balancing act tonight than it has been in the past here with the old car.
It will certainly be challenging, as I believe qualifying just wrapped up. No, that was practice. Sorry. So we're moving into qualifying now. Sorry. I was looking at the wrong screen. A pretty small field tonight, but we have a lot of experience out here. We have Alex Hallinar, who's a favorite to win. He's done very, very well in both the Premier and Prospect Series races. Jordan Rickey has made his name known throughout the Road Series as well. He's making an oval start tonight, as well as Alexander Hogarth, Matthew Tucker, Ethan Head, all very much regulars of the CIL Oval Series.
Right now here, we're seeing that we have a tie for the lead in the prospect points between Alex Hallinar and Ethan Head. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out here tonight. See who maybe makes up for some of those early season woes here, seeing as though this is the closest thing to what we would call a normal track on the CIL schedule that we've run so far this season. Starting off with Vega, Watkins Glen, Richmond. It's been quite the bumpy ride for a lot of people so far, so we'll see how some people shake out here.
And you're right. This has been a very interesting schedule this season. Obviously, the summer season's a little more relaxed. A lot of people like to have fun in these races rather than really get out there and leave it on the track, although you still see some of that. But the drivers voted on this schedule. So the tracks like Talladega and Watkins Glen and Richmond and now at Auto Club, the drivers voted on it. Auto Club is a very popular track with the drivers for very good reasons. It's very wide, very fast. We're riding on board with Ethan Head as he takes his qualifying laps almost 180 miles an hour across the stripe right there. This is a really, really fun track. Like I said, it's very wide. You're on throttle a lot. So there you see very, very late on the brakes going into turn one there, using up all of that track, Jeremy, like you said, running the bottom and qualifying. Going to swing up to the top here, very hard on the throttle down the back stretch. Still probably not a whole lot of heat in those tires. Going to make this lap count all the way down this really deceptively long back straightaway. And this is where the track gets really, really tough. When we ran here last year, a lot of people had run-ins with this turn 4 wall. And you can see Ethan playing it very conservatively there. It looks like he's going to run the apron here to come to the stripe, going to try to reduce the distance between him and the start-finish line as much as possible. That's going to be good enough for 4th place with a 42.301. Pole position right now goes to Ryan Fenty, 41.98. So very fast lap from Ryan, very experienced here in the CIL Cup Series. Provisional pole for Ryan right now. There you see the 118 of Andrew Olszewski takes spot number 3, Andrew Burrell spot number 4. But most guys still have one lap to make. Let's see if anything changes on this time around.
Yeah, as you mentioned, we see here everybody's trying to run the bottom. Everybody's trying to take that shortest distance around. Everybody's trying to get every single thing out they can out of their car right now. But it's going to be interesting to see once we actually get in the race time who's able to maintain that consistently throughout the race. Are we going to see the high groove be the groove that prevails here? Are they going to be able to maintain this line? Did they practice for maintaining this line? Did they practice for, where are they going to go once the track starts to rubber in, once the tires start to wear? So I think that more than any race this season, you'll see bigger opportunity to come to the front from the back of this race.
And probably the biggest change that I've noticed with these cars, and I'm sure you can attest to this as well, is the lack of side force and the fact that this car has a lot more horsepower than its Gen 6 counterpart. So cold tires and no side force means that you got to be really, really careful, like you said before, on the throttle. You're doing a lot more throttle modulation. You're driving the car with the pedals instead of with the wheel. And it's shown in the quality of battles that we've had on the track this season so far.
Yeah. And that's just going to make it that much more interesting to see if somebody's going to try to pull a late race slider, try to break momentum a little bit. That can throw somebody off way more coming off the corner than maybe it has in the past year.
Well, and we're at the track of the famous slide job. So
no, that was Joliet.
Was that? Oh, that was Chicago.
Chicago idea.
Close enough. It's a club. But still, Auto Club is a very wide track. You can pull off the slide job very, very easily, break the momentum of the guy in front of you, and take a spot from, looks like Alex Hallinar from Binghamton University, going to complete a qualifying lap here. Let's see where that puts him. 7th. Yikes.
Well, see, maybe he was trying to build a little bit of momentum on that first lap, and maybe this is going to be his real go-at-it lap.
I think you're right. He's just warming up the tires that first lap, maybe trying to figure out where the temperatures changed on the track. There you see it coming right at 180 miles an hour going into turn 3. Very, very late on the brakes. Going about half a groove up through 4. Keep it off the wall. Well done. Alex comes in.
Here. And 3rd place.
P3. Well done. Very, very good lap there. I think he's got one more. He's going to take one more shot at it.
Yes. So here in the CIL league, in the Collegiate iRacing League, we have a 3-lap qualifying run, so you get that one extra shot at it.
It has saved me so many times.
I know some people like to use that as well. Maybe they will go out and they run their first lap. They don't think they're really going to pick up on their second lap. They go reset from the pit, get a fresh set of tires, and see if they can do it a better lap from there.
Doesn't look like he improved very much there, so.
No, I think you're going to see tires heat up real quick here, and I think after the first, almost every single lap here, you're going to start to see fallout.
So, with the combination of the hot weather and this being as big of a track it is, have you found that the tires wear off a little more than they usually do? As you see, Andrew Burrell hits the wall right there. That's that dreaded turn 4 wall I talked about, and we'll start keeping a counter. That's 1.
Yeah, I think the heat is definitely going to play a big factor in tire wear and tire pressure management throughout the race here. It'll be interesting to see what the grip levels are as we go, and like I was saying, I don't think we really saw a whole lot of people actually practicing in those other grooves in practice, and it's gonna be interesting to see hey, did they actually practice ahead of time, or what did they do outside of our practice sessions to prepare themselves for a long run, if they did prepare themselves for a long run. So this track, these speeds, and with how long you're on the throttle, this just absolutely eats up tires.
So do you think we're maybe going to see a little bit of tire strategy here?
We'll see. I think that most people learned from last week that the best thing that you could do here is to try to split it 50-50, but I don't know, you might see somebody, you might see some people, I think that if anything, we'll see some people trying to wait their tires out for as long as possible to get a caution, but if that doesn't work, basically you could see a fall off between 1.5 to 2.5 seconds from fresh tires to old tires or tires at the end of the run. So if anybody tries that, it's gonna be a little bit risky because if that doesn't work out, you're gonna be losing a whole lot of time.
We saw last week how varying tire strategies affected people's races. Some people taking the long run, some people taking the shorter run. But speaking of races, it's that time. We're about to take the green flag. So let's get ready to roll. We do have reports coming in from the drivers that the track is ridiculously slick right now, with it being the famously hot California weather. That's to be expected. So we're gonna have a little bit of a warm up. Let these guys get some more practice in before they take to the track for the race. Try to figure out exactly how much tire they need to save to make it to the end.
I'll make it a fun one here tonight. Anytime the track gets slick, you really get to see a show.
Oh, definitely. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'll start to see, you might get up to a huge lead, but it's going to be about can you keep that same lap going lap after lap after lap? And just makes that modulation of the gas all that much more important.
We see the 118 of Andrew Olszewski taking the track. It'd be interesting to hear the specific feedback from these drivers. Maybe what they're thinking inside of that car is, as we see him get a little loose right there through the center, catches it, going to drift up the track here. That is very dangerous. If you lose the car here through the center like that, there's a very good chance that you're going to wind up in the wall. So, fair play to Andrew. Very good move keeping it off the wall coming out of two.
Yeah, it's very easy to, especially considering that your racing you'll see here is going to be like there's going to be 2, 3, maybe 4 wide at times. You're going to find yourself with limited track room as you go on. So losing the car like that in the middle of the corner, a lot of times you're not getting the gas, or if you can't get out of the gas, or you can't get it down, or can't get it saved in time, you're going to be taking out a lot of people.
So a 50-lap race. Do you maybe want to save your tires at the start? Do you want to play the battle of the resources to
No.
start this race, or do you want to? Are you sending it from the start? Are you trying to take it?
Well, you're not. I would say you're not sending it from the start. That's not happening. But you're not going to try to, if by the resource valve, because I believe on 50 laps, if we haven't changed it, you can make that on a fuel run. But do you want to? Is the question. And I would say,
I'll say no.
yeah, I would say that best strategy you could possibly do is remember you can what gains you 3 tenths or a tenth or two or maybe 3 tenths early can lose you up to a half a second to a second at the end in your lap times, and it's going to be really important to manage your tires and be able to put consistently fast laps. I don't think that you want to put your fastest laps down at first. I think you're going to want to save those tires and be able to make the moves you need to towards the end of the run.
As a crew chief, these races are always very fun because you know your strategy on paper at the start of the race, but the track temperature with it being so hot just throws such a wrench in those plans. It's crazy. You definitely can stop this race, but like you said, you definitely don't want to either. So I think we'll see, guys. I think, ooh, this is a tough one. With it being so hot, I don't think we're going to see any undercuts. I think when we see the leaders pit, or when the first, this is definitely a waterfall race. When you see one go, the rest of them are going to come with it.
I would completely agree with that.
So hopefully that'll make for some fun strategy. It's just under a minute left here in the warm-up session.
Yeah, and like you said, I don't think we'll see any undercuts. I think if anything, maybe you'll see somebody try an overcut and try to get that advantage if a lucky caution comes out. But the field this small, I don't see that being that likely. I think this is going to be a race that you pretty much have to battle straight up.
Now, are you already strategizing maybe for tomorrow night's race? Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh yeah, I think I know what I want to do, but I'll have to see how this car handles. I haven't gotten too much any practice in this. Well, since the update, I haven't gotten practice in with this car yet, so be interesting to see with the specific conditions that we'll have tomorrow, how I want to play it. But I think I got an idea of how I want to.
All right, and there we have it. That is the end of second practice. Ladies and gentlemen, it is race time in the Collegiate iRacing League. So let's take a look at tonight's starting lineup, shall we? Starting on pole, Ryan Fenty from St. Joseph's, student. Starting up to his outside, Matthew Tucker, the alumni from Jacksonville State. Row 2 consists of Alex Hallinar from Binghamton University and Andrew Olszewski from, doesn't say what university he is. We need to get that fixed. Right behind them, Jordan Rickey in the 92 machine. Andrew Burrell from Clemson University, the student. Row 4, Ethan Head from University of Tennessee. Aaron Quo from New York, starting to his outside and bringing up the rear for the start. Alexander Hogarth from St. Clair College, one of our friends north of the border. Jeremy, who's gonna win? Let's make picks.
Well, I think I'm gonna go with a little different pick this week. I'm gonna go with Ryan Fenty. I don't think that he's won here yet in CIL competition, and I think he's long due for one. We obviously see that he has pole speed here, so I think he'll be able to do it.
I'm going to have to go with the guy who's starting right behind him, Alex Hallinar. Alex has shown a lot of consistency over the races in the CIL Cup Series, both Prospect and Premier. He's a very good race car driver, and I think he'll find his way up to the front towards the very end.
I noticed that we also got Matthew Tucker. Matthew Tucker's right up there in the mix with those three, and we see him night after night. He's not necessarily up in those top couple positions, but it looks like he's definitely found something here tonight. And looks like he might be able to give these guys a good run for the money.
Oh, come on, man. You can't have two picks. That's cheating.
I didn't pick him. I just said I'd be interested to see how he does.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Somebody else you're going to want to keep an eye on is Alexander Hogarth. He's shown speed in the past, but he's starting from the back, which really means he can only go up from there. So I think starting from the rear, he's going to try and play a smarter race, maybe make it through the first caution, play a little bit of a tire game, and I think we can see him working his way up through the pack later on. We are about ready to go green. The cars coming through 3 and 4 right now, 2 by 2, bumper to bumper. We are ready to go. We are ready to go green, racing here at Auto Club Speedway. Pace car is getting ready to take the hard left onto pit road. We can see everybody bunching up. The nerves are high. We're ready to go. Pace car is off. Here we go, everyone.
Act together here and Fenty this. Nope, just the minor glitch here.
Here we go. Barney says send it. Green flag in the air at Fontana.
We got, looks like the second and third managed to stay pretty well Fenty here. We're going to be able to make a challenge going into this first corner. We'll see here on this first lap, are they going to be able to pull enough momentum off this high line to get a real run on the leaders down the backstretch here?
And a great start from Hallinar right there. He cleared the 777 of Tucker.
Looks like Tucker
right
is now
on the
getting
bumper
a
of
bit.
Fenty into 3.
So far, though, about one lap completed, and it doesn't look like there's a major breakaway just yet.
And it's like you said earlier on, the draft is very, very powerful. These next-gen cars don't necessarily draft as well as their Gen 6 predecessors do, but you can still definitely feel it when you're going 180, 190 miles an hour down the straightaway. So we're probably going to see this pack stay pretty well together until some tire fade starts. Looks like the 118 of Olszewski is getting a little aggressive down on the bottom side there. Going to maybe try and make a move on Matthew Tucker for the third position. Leader's still 1-2 nose to tail, though not right there. Hallinar takes a little bit of a wider entry into 3. Going to try and maybe gain some momentum off of 4. Looks like he's got a great run on Fenty. Going to use the draft to challenge for the position. He's going to go low here right under Fenty. They are dead even across the stripe. Looks like Hallinar is going to have the better momentum going into 1, choosing that bottom line, relegating Fenty to the top with the 2 other cars right behind them. They are 2 abreast, 2 rows deep for the lead right now.
I think we're going to see Fenty's going to get his nose in there. I think he's going to pull him coming here off this corner. Hallinar got in there. He got a great run down the front stretch. He got great positioning, but just so hard to pull off the bottom of the corner, especially this early in the run when you're able to drive that hard off the high side.
Already out of the gate, we're seeing some great racing. Really, we go back here to the IRL Fontana race in the second week of the NASCAR season, and it was one of the best races we've ever seen. I think we're going to see exactly that here, and this is why the drivers pick this track, because you can make these big moves, you can get aggressive, you have room to race. And there we see everybody's using every square inch of the track. Some people are running low, some people running middle, some people running high, maybe the 118 trying to serve a little tire right there, running the high lane.
I think what we see here is Fenty's trying to see how he can go ahead and break the draft, how he can go ahead and do whatever he needs to lose Alex, make him make a mistake, make him lose a little bit of ground to him, hopefully get a little bit of breathing room. But Alex is staying right there with him. I think what Alex is doing right now is he's trying to just size him up and see exactly what he can do or what move he'll be able to pull. You see him go to the high side here, going into turn 1. Looks like he's going to have a big run here, and I think he's going to be able to clear him coming off the corner.
He'll definitely have all that momentum on the high line, going to try and stay on the rear bumper of Fenty there, maybe catch a side draft out of the corner. But if you're one of the guys who's 3 wide behind them now, you're loving seeing this battle up front. They are still side by side 3 laps into this battle. Holy cow, what racing we're seeing here.
And we see Fenty's going to drive it deep in the corner. He's going to see what can he do to recover from that. Looks like he's cleared him. Let's see if he can pull up in front of him. Slide
We tried the slide job. He got it.
He
there
did.
it is.
He did.
Slide job.
That was a slide job. Hell yeah.
Dale Jr., eat your heart out.
That's what we love to see here. So yeah, that's going to be really important. Now let's remember, if that happens later in the race, Alex might have a little bit more to say about that with his front end.
Yeah, you're definitely going to see people you're going to see these guys being a little more patient at the beginning of this race. Now, if this was 5 laps to go instead of 5 laps in, that would be a completely different story. You would probably have seen Fenty in the grass.
And we see Tucker. Tucker's back with this lead group here, and he's running these guys down.
Well, I'm sure that battle, a 2-wide battle for 3.5 laps, helped him come back into the mix. Like I said, all those guys sitting back 3rd, 4th, 5th, they were loving watching that battle out of the show.
Oh, absolutely. As we see, Tucker looks like he's about to try to challenge Hallinar's position here. We'll have to see if he tries to really be aggressive and really try to push the envelope and actually get the position right now. Or maybe he just says, hey, I'm going to ride behind these 2. We got speed here. I'm here in position. I'm in the position I need to potentially get a win here. Maybe I learn a little bit here. Maybe I save a little bit of tire.
Well, and now's the point in the race where the pack is settled. Everybody's gotten into their rhythm, and now you're just going to have to ride it to the end. Minimize mistakes. Be sure that you're thinking ahead to your pit stop. You're going to start maybe studying the drivers in front of you and behind you, figuring out where they run, figuring out where they're fastest, where their preferred line is, so that way you can come back later and use that against them.
Yeah, I think this is also going to be a time where the drivers taking the opportunity are going to start to realize what they have after how they pushed it and how they've driven the car these first few laps, and determine, hey, how do I want to play my tire strategy going into the next step of the race.
And that would be the biggest thing I'd be concerned about if I was the leaders right now, battling that hard, or at least it looked like they were battling very, very hard there for those first couple of laps. With this track temperature and these conditions, exactly how much tire did you burn up, and is that going to, for lack of a better term, burn you later?
I'm very impressed with that Fenty's able to just drive away here after that big slide job move. That looked like something that might have cost a lot of tire. That was something that was really going to hurt, chew up your equipment, but he's able to just pull away, and it seems like he's done a good enough job considering throughout the first part of the run that was not a big issue for him.
Yeah, he pulled that off really well. So props to Fenty for keeping that clean, and props to Hallinar for showing a little bit of restraint maybe and not completely bending him for that. And we saw about 5 or 6 laps ago, we saw the 118 of Andrew Olszewski get in the wall. The race stewards have noted that he may have had a little help from the 92 of Jordan Rickey, but that incident has been noted for the future reference. Great battle here shaping up between Aaron Quo and Alexander Hogarth.
We got a really great battle shaping up for second place right here as Matthew Tucker is still right there hounding Hallinar, looking for a way around him. I think he's signing him up right now. He's saying, hey, how am I going to do this? Saying, how am I going to be able to get position on him and then pull the momentum off the corner?
And that's the big thing that at least I like to tell some of the guys that I race with. Patience, keep your head together. This is a long race. We're only 10, 11 laps into a 50-lap race. You're still going to have a lot of time to make this move, and especially knowing that the guy in front of you may have burned up his stuff a little bit trying to take
it looks like Tucker's going to get it here. Well, at least he's going to get to his outside and get around the corner.
Side-by-side battle for the lead. Tucker's barely going to clear Hallinar and take P2 as they cross the stripe for the 12th time.
Now he has clean air to take off and run the line that he wants to. I think I'm seeing here with Tucker, he's running a higher line than anybody else in the field is currently, so it's going to be something important to keep note of. I think that's also going to play a big role in tire maintenance later down the line.
And you're right. The high line doesn't use as much tire in the earlier run, which is going to be really, really useful for track conditions like this, and especially if you're trying to play a little bit of pit strategy, maybe going to save your tires as much as possible, pounce when you can, defend like a lion, and then pit later on and hopefully have some better resources than the other guys, especially if we see a caution later on down the road.
Now, a lot of people might ask, hey, well, if the high line's going to save my tires, it's going to keep my momentum up, why not just run it every single lap, as high as I can? And well, it's really easy to hit that wall. That's one thing.
That turn 4 wall, man.
It'll clock you out of nowhere.
I had way too many run-ins with that wall when we ran here last season. I think I hit it about 4 or 5 times over the course of that race before.
I think that, well, obviously the high line is less taxing on equipment. I think it's a little bit more taxing mentally for some, as far as keeping that thing off the wall, but keeping the momentum up. Whereas I think some see the bottom line as a way to keep up speed while, running at a pace that is more comfortable for them, or running a line that might be more comfortable for them.
Well, that and the bottom line is the shortest way around the racetrack. So you're putting as little distance as possible between you and the next lap. So this racetrack is unique in that you do have choices. You do have some strategy calls that you can make over the course of a race, whether you want to save tires, maybe take it a little easier, or whether you want to get aggressive, run that low line, and try to be faster than the guy in front of you and the guy behind you.
I had about 3 or 4 races I've done here where leading the race and kept cranking that high line, kept getting aggressive at it, and up hitting a wall, and it looked like it was something in hand. Suddenly, I have the guy on my bumper and running me down with fresher tires, so that'll definitely bite you hard late in the run if you do it.
Speaking of the wall, Hogarth got a little close right there. Looks like that was intentional though, so I'll give him that.
See a little bit of a wall ride there? Just gonna video game it?
Wall ride strat, I'm down. Yeah, first and second has improved. increased to 1.5 seconds. It was about 1 second flat when Matt Tucker took P2 from Alex Hallinar. So we're seeing Fenty drive away from the field a little bit right now, but how long is that going to last? I don't think so. As we look along Andrew Burrell, who's in a great battle for the 5th position right now, but we see the 8-car Ethan Head from UT Knoxville up in front.
Burrell gets a huge run on Head, maybe a little bit of contact.
That was a great run. He's probably going to clear Head.
Easily.
Yes, he will. That famed 88 machine.
Now that's something I think that you'll find here. Oh, it's flat.
Both of them. There it is. That's 3.
I think one of the things you kind of find here is that you can get away with that going on the 3 and 4 as opposed to 1 and 2, because 3 and 4 almost kind of fans out a little bit. It's almost a little bit wider the way you should exit that corner, a little bit straighter until drive it off that corner. Until you're going to drive it off that corner. So you can dive it in and let it wash up and get away with that a little bit more. Than 1 and 2, if you try that, you're most likely not going to be successful as far as completing that pass.
Saw both of them taking the high line that time around. Looks like Ethan Head might have gotten in the wall a little bit as he loses the position to Alexander Hogarth. Although
Might have a little.
Not so fast.
Oh, I think he wanted to come tip road there, but he just did not slow down quick enough.
Yeah, he might have cut that apron a little bit. Got a little loose and I can check up.
We'll see, because it's definitely apparent that the damage is affecting his speed right now, and that thing is not running like it was.
And it looked like he hit the wall in the center from 1 and 2 last time around when he was trying to chase Burrell around the high side. So maybe he got in the wall and that's biting him a little bit now. So look for Ethan to come to pit road maybe here in the next couple of laps. So he's lost some speed.
While we were watching these battles, Hallinar actually got back by Matthew Tucker and is back up to 2nd place, 1.4 seconds behind Ryan Fenty. So he's reclaimed that 2nd place, and he's actually starting to cut into the lead a little bit here.
Oh boy, here we go. Watch the replay here. It's the same thing Burrell just did. Big run off the top of 2. Sent it on the straightaway to the inside, cleared him into the corner, and just drove off.
Now that's that moment where everybody's got to make those mental notes, and Tucker's got to make that mental note and say, hey, how was I driving that, worked within the first 15 laps, but stopped working after lap 16 or 17.
You're making notes this entire race, kind of how we said at the top of the show, where you're going to start looking at how guys race you, where guys are driving. Well, you're also going to make note of where either you make mistakes or you got passed or something happened where you maybe lost some speed, and you're going to try and not do that again. You're going to learn what the other person did to get around you and use that later.
And coming up, as we're on lap 20 now, as we said, we thought that the strategy here tonight was going to be to try and split it 50-50, go 25 laps each way. So about to see about 5 laps here. What are people actually going to choose? Are they going to try to maybe stay out and get that lucky caution? As we haven't had a caution thus far. It seems like the field is pretty spread out, so I don't know if that's quite the strategy, but we'll have to see when people decide they're going to pit. Are they going to try to stay out a little bit longer? They're going to try to have a little bit fresher tire maybe later in the run? Is the fall off going to be greater later in the run or earlier in the run, have they determined? We'll have to see how they determine this.
Well, I think this is going to be this is one of those moments where you're going to see the pit crew standing on the walls, but nobody's really wanting to pull the trigger yet. When you see that first guy come to pit road, I think you're going to see everybody else come in after him.
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, we should see pit stops happening within about the next 5 to 7 laps or so, as we're coming up on lap 22 of the race.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who of these leaders is going to be the first to peel off. Maybe try to undercut it just a little bit, maybe just a lap or two. Not a huge undercut, but maybe just get that little bit of clean running room and see where y'all fan out.
And don't look now, but Hallinar has shaved about 3/10 off of that lead that Fenty has over him in the past couple of laps. So Hallinar going to try and maybe make a run for the lead to try and pit from the lead here. If you're Fenty, you're wanting to come in for fresh tires to maybe put a put a stop to this.
And we see, as you just saw, we have a huge overcast now. We have huge cloud coverage on the track, so that's going to play a major effect on how this track handles and really grip levels are. So we'll have to see.
Jeremy, you have more experience in this next gen car than I do. Can you really feel the track conditions change when you get cloud covered like that? Is it that noticeable?
I would say so. I would say, it changes a good amount about where your throttles are. You got to change up your line a little bit. I would say it's mostly not necessarily that it has more or less grip, just it's not going to have grip where you think it's going to have it, or not going to have grip where it previously did have it.
Coming up to lap 24, 1 lap shy of the halfway point. There you see Fenty at the bottom of your screen. The gap back to Hallinar has come down even more. 8 tenths, now 9 tenths going into the corner.
Now this is really interesting because we see with Alex Hallinar, this is almost like a carbon copy of what he did last week. He got to that halfway point. That halfway point, he was able to run Thomas Toomey back down and go by him. It looks like he's on the verge of potentially doing that again within these next couple laps.
He gained 3 tenths right there down the back straightaway. The gap was at 5 tenths going into the corner. So if you're Fenty, do you have some alarm bells ringing in that pit box right now?
You do, but we'll see. We'll see how this shakes out here.
It's going to be a very battle indeed.
I mean, if Fenty can pull away on the second run like he did the first run, it takes this long for Hallinar to run him back down. I think maybe he's thinking, I want to minimize the number of laps that Hallinar is going to have to come back at me. So it seems like Fenty being the leader is pretty much going to be the one that's making the call as when to come in for the tire stop. I think everybody's going to be playing follow leader here, so he's kind of dictating how this race is going to play out, or dictating the input that's going to determine how the race will play out.
And that's a good point. Pretty much everybody behind is waiting on the leader to make their move. I believe we're going to see our first pit stop, the 118 of Andrew Olszewski, and right now. So green flag pit stops are underway. Are we going to see the leaders come in this time by now that we've had one go? Are they going to stay out for a little longer?
I can't imagine. I think you have to come in within the next couple of laps here. I just think at this point, like I said, I think maybe some of these guys are waiting for a caution, but I don't think we don't have any kind of condition that's showing us the potential caution right now, especially with the size of the field and how spread out everybody is tonight. So I think there's also just a little bit of nerve of, when you come in, the opportunity to mess something up, and I think a lot of drivers might push that off just a little bit, just because they don't want to worry about that. What if I get a speeding penalty on pit road? What if I don't access pit road safely? What if I get some sort of any kind of penalty that is going to completely ruin my race? So.
And we saw that happen to Jared Kaler last week at the Richmond Premier race, where he was leading pretty much the entire race, save a couple laps until the pit stops about 2/3 of the way through. He overshot his pit stall. Jimmy overtook him on pit road. Pit stops very, very crucial in a race like this where it's a one and done, or at least we assume it'll be a one and done.
I think at this point, you have to ask yourself, if I'm Hallinar right now, I'm coming in just about the next lap here. I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to get that one lap. I'm going to hopefully come out with the lead, come out with the clean air, and be able to drive off. Says he's cut the lead as much as he needs to. There's nothing else for him to really do. He could try to pass, but trying to pass is just going to cut time. It's going to cut tires. It's not going to be as beneficial. I think him coming into pit right now be the best strategy, and try to get that one lap, try to undercut him just a little bit, try to get that little extra advantage on him.
Here's some radio chatter. As Hallinar goes for the lead right here. Fenty maybe playing it a little safely. Going to try and drop behind, box this time. There we see Hallinar up to the lead. Fenty's going to get a big momentum boost coming off of the corner here. Going to get to the inside of Hallinar. Maybe a little bit of contact there, side drafting down the straightaway. I think they're fighting to see who's going to get on pit road first. This is going to be interesting.
Well, right now, the way that Fenty's positioned, he can prevent Helenar from, or potentially put a huge blocker on Helenar actually getting to pit road.
Another slide job right there.
This is the contest to see who's the toughest right now. I think these guys are just trading blows, and it's a little bit more of a mental battle than it is an actual racing battle right now.
This is a war of attrition right now. There you see the 118 unlapping himself right there on those about 2 or 3 lap fresher tires. Fenty taking the lower line, going to get a better run off the 2 right there. Just tuck in behind Halinar's draft. Looking at the inside again. Whoa, Halinar with the block.
I just can't imagine what the strategy is here.
I think they're playing chicken. Who's gonna be the one who pulls the trigger first?
I would agree.
Now, because the 118 came in, and I believe the 777, 47, 8, and 92 may have already. We saw the 118 drive right by these guys. Every lap that they stay out, they are losing time to those lap cars. They may find themselves back in the mix here when these guys come back out of pit road.
Do we have what is your list of people who have not pit yet? Halinar, Fenty,
Burrell, and Hogarth have yet to pit. They're top 4.
Okay. So yeah, Olszewski and Matthew Tucker are able to chip into their leads a little bit here. And yeah, they're going to be losing. As we see here, Tucker coming across the line, puts down a 44 flat.
Yeah, they lost 2 seconds that lap to the 118 with the top car they pit. The gap last time between P1 and P5 was 40.2. This time it's 42.0. This time it's 40.5. So 1.5 seconds gone out of that lead.
The Olszewski ran last lap 42.665. We saw Alex Helenar, who ran a 44.808. So yeah, you're losing about 2 seconds a lap. So considering laps are right around that 40-second range, that's about enough to, even if they were to make it to the end, given they're going to have more tire fall off, given they're going to run the risk of another blown tire, even if these guys were to try to play a strategy to stay out and make it last, that's giving plenty of opportunity. As you see Fenty get loose.
Fenty really loose.
Fenty's losing.
Oh,
Fenty,
no!
Oh, Fenty!
Oh, Ryan.
No. No.
And I believe we are going to see a caution, maybe?
No. Oh, he's disconnected.
So. We stay green. He got it off the track.
So
this changes everything for Alex.
Oh, my God.
Let's see if we can get a replay here. What happened? Looks like Fenty just got loose, overcorrected it back into the wall. Hard hit there. I think that car is cooked.
Wow. Yeah, if there was a caution there, he had the opportunity to come in for a fast repair, but unfortunately that would have done him much good at this point if he had the pace all the way back.
That is heartbreak. That brings me physical pain. So that moves Andrew Burrell into P2.
Olszewski is now 36 seconds behind Helenar. I think Helenar's gonna try to win it again by just going for it.
I think you're at the point now where we have, what is this? This will be 15 to go coming to the stripe. He might be shooting the moon here. He might be no stopping. Andrew Burrell, the closest car, 20 seconds back. Doesn't look like Burrell has pit yet. I think we saw Hogarth on pit road as well.
Hogarth just cut off another 2 seconds that last lap, so we're seeing a consistent 2 second lap cut off. Seeing that we have 15 laps in the race, you got 30 seconds, so speaking by that metric, he's going to be at about a 4 second gap, but I don't think we've seen the last of Helenar's fall off yet. We saw that from Fenty. I think we'll be seeing something similar from, I think that Halinar's managed his stuff very well, but we have to be seeing something pretty similar soon. As you see that wiggle there from his front end.
And Olszewski has passed Hogarth to get into the top 3. They received 32 seconds back was the gap this time around. So
he is just chewing into that lead.
I think if you're Halinar, you have to come in. You have to come in. You are losing way too much pace to the guys behind you. You are very slow. Maybe you can. 32 seconds. That's you're looking at a pit time of right at about 35, 40 seconds. You're going to come out 10 seconds behind the leaders. Do you think maybe the guys that pitted back at lap 25, lap 30, maybe they've put enough age on their tires to where it's going to make it different?
No.
Halinar will all the way back up? No, plain and simple.
No. Halinar is going to continue to see tire degradation. We saw him. He was crazy loose. He is babying that thing. He is just managing that thing at this point. It's going to be a miracle of driving if he pulls it off, but I just don't think. And I think that at this point, it was 2 to 3 laps ago was your last stop for, okay, come on in. You got 15 laps to make up the. Because if he comes in now, he's going to lose the lead, absolutely. And probably going to be back maybe 10, 15 seconds at this point if he loses the lead. So I think he's lost his window for the opportunity to make up that time if he comes in now, at least if he wants to get the win.
Alex, is going for the shoot the moon strategy right now. This is awesome.
A big repeat of last week.
Yes.
Although,
if you're unfamiliar with what happened last week, there was a driver from Clemson University who stayed out literally as long as possible on the starting set of tires. Tried to no stop it and didn't work too well. Became quite the meme, Chad.
well, that was Alex himself tried that in the prospect race,
and it worked.
Oh no, it didn't work for him.
It didn't work. I
No.
stand corrected.
No, he ended up losing his tires badly. He ended up blowing a tire, actually.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, Burrell into the wall right there.
Finishing several laps down, sliding into the infield wall, so. I guess he decided he woke up on the better side of the bed today. It's going to work here this time.
It does. I think the whole
Although we have seen, as we see, it looks like Olszewski cut off another 2 seconds that time. But the prior couple of laps, he had really lost that deficit. He was cutting into Halinar's lead. So that's going to be important because if he's going to be able to run Halinar down and they're going to maintain these paces they are right now, he's going to need every single lap, and that 2 seconds every single lap to do it.
And this is 10 seconds to go. So the tire degradation on Halinar's car continues. We see Andrew Burrell 24 seconds back last time by, 27 seconds back to third place, Andrew Olszewski. Are we going to see this be as close as we think? Are we going to see Halinar continue to slow down? Are Burrell and Olszewski and Tucker going to have enough time to maybe run it? Well, maybe not Tucker. Tucker's 43 seconds back right now as we just saw him unlap himself. But Burrell and Olszewski, are they going to have enough time to catch back up to Halinar?
I think that Olszewski, he's slowed down to a 1 second a lap game, it looks like. So if he doesn't pick that up, we'll have to see how much more Halinar throws off. The big question mark is, we saw last week that you can blow a tire out. We saw how much worse it got in the last 10 laps of the run. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
This is one of the gutsiest calls I've ever seen in the CIL race. And
I think at this point,
works out.
I think at this point, Halinar has the gap to where if he can continue what he's doing right now, just not wreck the thing, he can easily come home with the win.
And you said it right there. If he doesn't wreck the thing, that is his battle right now. Is he's got to keep that car in one piece. He's got to keep it drivable. And I'm sure that thing is riding on skates right now on ice.
You see him wiggle every single time he gets off that corner.
That scares me every time.
He is putting so much energy into making that thing work. But yeah, it looks like that. Yeah, it looks like that's the deficit has gotten down to a 1 second a lap deficit to Olszewski, and yeah, that's just not going to be enough at this point in the race.
25 seconds with the gap right there. It doesn't look like Olszewski's going to make it. So Halinar, if he keeps it together, this is going to be a not very easy win.
No.
You picked Halinar. Now I'm mad.
Well, I picked Fenty. You picked Halinar.
Oh, I picked Halinar. Let's go. Finally, I got one right.
I picked him last week, so I figured I'll let you have him.
Fair enough. Usually, I'm happy now because usually my pick is the kiss of death in a race like this.
Well, hey, we still got 7 laps to go here. So.
Yeah, I'm knock on wood. I'm not saying anything more.
So we saw a similar situation last week where, he actually experienced a blown tire. I haven't seen that at a super speedway or intermediate yet in these cars. I've only seen those on 3/4 mile short tracks, but I have to assume it's possible. How hard has he pushed that right rear?
Anything's possible if you try. And he is really trying right now.
You see that gap? Yeah. Well, he keeps coming off that 1 second a lap, but that's just stabilized to.
Yeah, 23.2 that time by was the gap. Doesn't look like he's going to have enough time.
I'm Halinar running one more lap at these speeds, and I'm backing way the heck off. I'm coasting this thing to the finish.
This will be 5. This will be 6 to go coming this time by. You see Fenty maybe going to play it a little. That's Jordan Ricci, sorry. Going to unlap himself, gain a lap back, get himself back to 1 lap down. Not really the blistering pace that we saw out of the 118 machine earlier. Look, we just got proven. We just got proved wrong. We said at the top of the show that the undercut wasn't going to work. Well, the 118 was the first car on pit road, and he's about to finish P2 if he can hold off Andrew Burrell in 3rd. And it looks like he will because that gap has grown a lot in the last 2 laps.
I'm very surprised. I would have been interested to see, though, if Fenty kept on track and they kept battling on each other, how this works out.
Now, is that something that maybe you're going to take into tomorrow night's race? Is that a little bit of knowledge bomb that just got dropped?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, tomorrow's race is, what is it, 80 laps?
I believe it is 80 laps, yes.
80 laps. So, we're going to see, I think you're going to have to obviously come in at least once, not only for tires, but also for fuel. So that's going to be a little bit different way to play it out. So you will be on another set of tires, but the question is, it seems like if you have a massive gap, it does stabilize, it looks like here, after maybe 10 to 15 laps.
Ooh, big wiggle right there.
I think that's something to keep in the notes, not as far as trying to use that as a race-winning move per se, but more so, hey, if I can make this thing, if I can stay out under caution and not get passed or something like that.
You can tuck it into the filing cabinet in the back.
Yeah.
In case of emergency.
More information is never a bad thing, right?
That is true. That is very true.
And yeah, what I found remarkable is the fact that Alex Halinar has put down this 44.8 lap, staying in this exact same 1/10 of a second bracket despite continually churning tires every single lap for about the past 20 laps or so.
I'm shocked right now. I'm very surprised he made it the whole way. I really think the reason that he could do that is the incident with Fenty.
Yeah.
Just past the stripe for 3 to go.
I would have been interested to see what would happen if Fenty tried maybe undercutting after he got passed. Or tried to come in the pit after he got passed and just make it a rage brawl to get back to the front.
And I think that would have been a really good call right there. I think that's what we would have seen out of a lot of guys, or anybody had that happen to them. That would have been the correct call there. Take the ball out of the leaders, or put the ball in the leaders' court. You've got 1 lap fresher tires. You're able to cut into that lead a little bit while they're still making their way around the track. 2 to go that time. There you saw Burrell got into the wall a little bit out of turn 2. So he will lose 3rd position, dropping into 4th. Last car on the lead lap.
I'm going to say we saw this work tonight, but this is not something I want to try. Right. I think this is a fun experimental gig for a prospect race. I just don't think... Well, we're also going to see a different number of cautions tomorrow, right? For a bigger field, we're going to see different traffic, so...
Kids, do not try this at home. Alex Hallinar, somehow he has made the zero cut work. No stops, no tires, no fuel. He's made it all the way, coming to 1 to go this time by. A white flag is out. Alex Hallinar, Binghamton University student in the number 57.
It's blowing my mind right here.
I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what to say. This has been an incredible strategy. Great call by Alex.
The fact that you're seeing a wiggle here and there in this car, and you're thinking, okay, it's a little bit loose. No, you know that thing. Look at it. You can see on the onboard camera.
He's driving the dang wheels off of that thing.
He's sawing that thing. That is taking so much just physical energy out of him right now. Make that work.
It took a little bit of luck. He shot the moon. He's going to land among the stars. He finally made the zero stop work. It bit him last week, but it's going to bring him wealth and fortune and fame this week. Alex Hallinar will win the Prospect Series race at Fontana on a no-stop Hail Mary strategy. That is incredible.
That is incredible. And that makes Alex 3 for 4 in the Prospect Series here. So, probably one of the most, he's next, I guess you could say, next Sean Campbell here in the Prospect Series.
Oh, gosh.
I think he made his first career start last week, and imagine he had a podium finish in his first ever premier start. So I think we'll be looking forward to bright things to come from Alex in the CIL Series Premier and Prospect for the rest of this season and Premier going on.
See Andrew Burrell bringing it home fourth. This is his first season in the CIL Cup Series, a roadside veteran, so good to see him getting some good results here. But to the victor goes the spoils. Alex Hallinar, about as Hail Mary as you can get it. He's probably just going to immediately blow out the tires doing burnouts here, but going to be a big victory celebration from him. I rescind my comments about firing the crew chief earlier. That was an incredible move. Luck may have played on his side there, but still a very, very bold call, and fortune favors the bold.
A little bit of wheel hop there. Yeah, let's say it would have been a treat to see how it would have played out if Ryan Fenty could have stayed in it. You could have seen those two challenge go head to head. Have an absolute duel on these old tires, but still incredible job here.
We're gonna wait for some of our drivers to get back to pit road. Stay tuned. We'll have some interviews for you. We'll get some closing thoughts on the race before we end for the night. Congratulations to Hallinar. He's gonna go ahead and pull it into victory lane here. Nice.
Got his Monster Energy girls down there. Get the on-track reporting going here.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Alex Hallinar, your winner tonight. Let's go ahead and dial him up in the booth. Alex, holy cow, what did you just do?
Well, let me see. I brought my right front down to 26% and didn't get a flat tire.
That is very, very impressive. Congratulations on another CIL Cup Series prospect win. What went through your mind doing the no stop?
Honestly, I kind of came into this race thinking I was going to stop. Then, around lap 20, I was kind of looking at my lap times. I'm like, well, I'm only running like 44s. And, by the time the guys come out, the tires, they lost like a second and then gradually lost speed. I was like, well, these tires are going to not, I wasn't, 100% positive, but I was like, okay, these tires are just going to fall off a little bit. I think the fastest strategy would be to stay out. I was saving my tires, and, I think, by the time we were about ready to pit, I was up to Fenty. And I was like, well, I'm going to win this way. If he pits, I'm going to pit. And, he didn't, and I stayed out, and I was like, okay, this is a better strategy.
Alex, you are one crazy son of a bee for trying that. Going into those final laps, how hard was that car to hang on to? Did you feel like at any moment it was going to snap? As we saw what happened to Fenty earlier, did you feel like you were going to suffer the same fate? Did you see that and just get super nervous, or how much physical effort went into keeping that thing on track?
I was burning out my right front. I didn't feel loose. I felt really tight, so I was just kind of driving it slower than I needed to, and I wasn't really pushing it. I wasn't really wheeling it. I was hoping that the tire wasn't going to go down on me.
Yeah, Alex, congratulations on the race win tonight. You had a fantastic drive. You mentioned it. You just mentioned that you were worried about that tire going down on you. After the last race at Richmond, where you did have a tire go down on you, were you expecting the tire to go down on you in the end? Kind of like how some drivers expect a caution to come out when they're leading.
It was in the back of my mind. I felt good enough that it wasn't going to go down. I knew I was saving my tires, and I was in Discord with Andrew Burrell, and he said with like 2 to go, oh, I got a meatball for some reason. I'm like, dude, your tire went down, and at that point I was like, okay, he probably burned his stuff up more than I did. I'm definitely good. Just gotta bring her home.
Well, Alex, congratulations on the race win tonight. Before we send you on your way to enjoy your victory, anybody you want to thank or shout out here on the broadcast?
I want to thank Binghamton University for allowing me to become a college student so I can race with you guys. I want to thank Josh and the guys who run the league for putting this on. That way, I could race with you guys. And I want to thank my dad for watching and supporting me throughout my in real life and sim racing career.
Well, Alex, congratulations on the race win once again. I hope you enjoy your victory well tonight.
Absolutely, but I gotta wake up tomorrow and do the same thing.
That was our race winner for tonight, Alex Hallinar out of Binghamton University. Coming in the booth next, we'll see who we can pull up in here.
Don't believe we have any more interviews slated.
Well, I guess nobody else wanted to join us up here in the booth, but once again, that was a fantastic race, guys. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we saw that after 10 15 laps here, it seems like the deficit you got into starts to stabilize out. So, saw some work that I would have never thought at the beginning of this race would have worked. Obviously, take a special driver to make that work as well. But yeah, it was a great preview to what's to come tomorrow and to see, what some of the racing will look like, what some of the battles will look like, where you'll be able to make moves, uh, how you'll be able to conserve your equipment. But it's one of the great things about these prospect series. You get to see a multitude of things that you might not be able to try out or people might not try in the main series here and see how they play out.
So Jeremy and Matthew, you guys are racing tomorrow night in the premier race. Have you learned anything tonight that you think is going to carry over tomorrow? Maybe not necessarily strategy wise, but some things that you saw out on track that maybe you didn't find during practice.
Slide job.
Slide job. Always
slide job.
Correct answer. Yes.
Yes, slide job. But yeah, I mean, we did see that was working very effectively, or that did work very effectively. Fenty when he tried it. Unfortunately, ultimate result didn't work out. It's going to be interesting to, as we saw, Alex kind of gave him a little bit of a break there. He was well clear and kept his momentum up. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see as far as passing is going to be difficult when you got to keep up momentum and when you got to try to find a way around people. So yeah, need to be some creative moves to get around people tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think the big thing that I noticed was at the start of the race, everybody was bunched up. No matter, your qualifying speed, I think everybody was right on top of each other for the first, I'd say, 10 laps or so. After 10 laps, we really saw tire wear become a major factor in who had speed for the rest of the night. Because I think some of the guys who finished back in the pack started towards the front of the pack, but burned up the tires too quickly. And as a result, they just lost a lot of time on the back end. And like Alex Hallinar said, Andrew Burrell, he had a flat tire at the end. So keeping your tires under you is going to be a big part of tomorrow's race, I think. And I think patience, not letting, maybe you give up a spot. I think staying calm and staying patient is going to be more important than losing that one spot during that race tomorrow night.
All right. Who was today's driver of the day? Jeremy.
Oh, it's got to be Alex. By all means, it was Alex Hallinar. He made something work that none of us thought we'd be able to work. He kept that thing on track. He kept his focus. He kept his patience. made an absolutely ballsy move, and even before that, showed great pace, showed great passing, showed great racecraft. By far, it's gotta be Alex.
I gotta say it was Alexander Hogarth. I think he started at the back of the pack in ninth position, worked his way up. He was our biggest mover of the night, up 4 spots. So I think Alexander Hogarth, he didn't have the speed in qualifying, but I think in race trim, he did a good job of moving his car up a couple positions and taking advantage where he could.
I told you. I told you, watch out for Hogarth. He's got race speed. And I think we'll see it tomorrow night. But I want to give a shout out to my driver of the day, Andrew Olszewski. I've probably butchered your name this whole broadcast if you're watching, so I'm sorry. But he started right there mid pack. He also played a strategy card that worked in his favor. The undercut worked. He came in about 5 or 6 laps before everybody else behind him and in front of him, and he brought it home second today. So very good performance from him. Very fast. All of our drivers very fast tonight. With our prospect race over, we now turn our sights towards the premier race tomorrow night. So be sure to tune in 8:45 Eastern Time to twitch.tv/Collegiate iRacing League and the Collegiate iRacing League YouTube channel, as we'll see some of the biggest stars on track. Thomas Toomey, Jared Kaler among the greats of the CIL duke it out at Auto Club tomorrow night. So guys, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
I think we're just looking forward to a great race tomorrow night. Same time, same place.
Looking forward to the calm down before the storm tomorrow here. So,
Well, best of luck to both of you guys in tomorrow night's race. Looking for a lot of fun. So that'll be it from us tonight here in the CIL booth. Myself, Zach Lindler, alongside Jeremy Miller and my co-commentator and tonight's producer Matthew Nordberg. These two guys will be duking it out tomorrow night on track. So be sure you don't miss it. So from now, that's it. That's a wrap, folks. Stay fast. Thank you for watching.